What's going on, baseball fans? How you doing? So we got the trade deadline coming up in a couple of days. So in this video, I've put together 10 trades that I would like to see. Let's go talk about it. Before I get started, if you are new to the channel, think about subscribing down below. Hit the like button, hit the bell button, hit the share button, hit all the buttons. Starting off my list, I have Tyler Mahle going to the Minnesota Twins. I think the Twins need to add a starting pitcher. If we take a look at their current rotation, I do like Joe Ryan, I do like Sonny Gray, but when it comes to the playoffs, I feel like they need a little something extra. And Tyler Mahle, he's been pretty good this year. The Reds just traded Luis Castillo. It's time for them to unload Mahle as well. Having himself a pretty decent year. He got off to a bit of a rough start this year, but overall over 19 starts, a 4.40 ERA, a 3.61 FIP. If we go take a look at how he was doing in the beginning of the year, in the first month, he had a 6.45 ERA, brought it down a little bit in May, still wasn't too great, but in the month of June, he was very good. In the month of July, ERA has come up a little bit, but overall, that FIP is looking a lot better than that overall ERA. I think Mahle, who is more of a fly ball pitcher, the Twins have good outfield defense. I think that would translate really well. And overall, I just feel like the Twins need a little something for down the stretch. And when they get to the playoffs, if you have Joe Ryan, Sonny Gray, and Mahle, I think that's a pretty decent 1, 2, 3. So for the Reds, I have a package going back with Austin Martin, Cantorino, and Wallner. Martin would be leading the package here. Remember, they just got him in the Jose Barrios trade last year, so he would be on the move once again. I feel like with Austin Martin, this is a guy where his on base is looking pretty good, but the average and the slugging are pretty low. So maybe the Reds can figure out something with him. Either way, he provides versatility. He can play other positions. So maybe the Reds, they would like that in the future. We got Matt Cantorino. He's still pretty far away, but he's overall having pretty good numbers this year down in the minors. And then the last piece, I have Wallner. He is, as of right now, their number 8 prospect, outfield prospect. He's getting a little close. Now with Martin, this is a guy where, slugging, batting average could be better, but Wallner is having himself a pretty good year, so that could make up for it. A 536 slugging with a 275 batting average and a 412 on base. He's got 21 homers. I feel like the Reds would love to add that kind of a bat to their organization. Overall, I think Mahle would be good for the Twins, and I think a package like this would be good for the Reds as they continue to rebuild. Up next, I have Jose Quintana going to the St. Louis Cardinals. We were just talking about the Cincinnati Reds, so let's stay in the NL Central and talk about the Cardinals, and oh boy, they need some pitching. Take a look at the current rotation. Adam Wainwright, Miles Mikolas, and Andre Palante. Their rotation right now is in complete shambles. You got Flaherty, Hudson, and Matz on the IL. I think someone like Jose Quintana would be a really nice rental for them down the stretch. They did it last year with Lester and Happ. I think Quintana, pretty similar move, if you ask me. Take a look at the year that he's having. 20 starts, over 100 innings so far, 3.50 ERA, 3.24 FIP. He's having himself a very good bounce-back season. So here is the trade. Quintana, as of right now, on baseball trade values, is worth $2.5 million. Not really going to cost you all that much. Remember, this is a rental. The track record in the last few years has not been all that great, so he's not really going to cost you all that much. But for the Pirates, you're adding a couple of pitchers in this trade. You're getting Love and Thomas. Austin Love is their number 16, and Thomas is their number 15. Overall, I think for the Pirates, you're able to add a couple of pretty decent pitching prospects here. Quintana is going to help the Cardinals down the stretch. I think this works for both sides. But St. Louis Cardinals fans, stay tuned. I might have another trade for you on this list. In my next trade, I have Ian Happ going to the Atlanta Braves. I feel like the Atlanta Braves could use a bit of an upgrade in their lineup. If we go take a look as of right now, you got Eddie Rosario out in left, and you got Marcell Ozuna at the DH spot. And in the other outfield spots, you obviously have Ronald Acuna Jr. and Michael Harris II is having a very good rookie season. But taking a look at Eddie Rosario, this guy is having an extremely down year. I know he missed some time. He got laser eye surgery, but he has just not been getting it done this year. 27 WRC plus, 34 games. I mean, these numbers are just not going to get it done. Marcell Ozuna, he does have 18 home runs, but he's only hitting 219, a 274 on base, a 397 slugging, and 84 WRC plus. I don't know. I feel like the Braves could use a bit of a bat here, and Ian Happ has been phenomenal for the Chicago Cubs. Take a look at what he's doing. He's hitting 280, a 361 on base. The slugging, yeah, sure, could be a little bit higher, but I feel like they could use a guy that can get on base, get some hits. The WRC plus is really solid with him. I think he would be a nice upgrade for them. You can stick him out in left field. Rosario can be a bat off the bench or a lefty bat off the bench. Maybe rotate him in and out of the DH spot with Ozuna. I don't know, but I feel like Ian Happ with the Braves, I think they have a pretty decent chance at repeating this year. I really like the Atlanta Braves, and I feel like Ian Happ a bat like this can go a long way. Let's get it done. And as for the Cubs here, they're going to be getting themselves a pretty solid package. It's not going to be cheap to get someone like Ian Happ, over $21 million worth of value. In this trade, I have Muller, Schuster, and Franklin. Muller is definitely the big piece here. He's currently your number 2 prospect as of right now. He had one start this year. He got obliterated through 2 2/3. But in the minors this year, he has been pretty solid. A 2.96 ERA over 16 starts. So it would be tough to part with a prospect like that. But if you could get a bat like Ian Happ, why not try and just get it done? I also have Jared Schuster in here. He got drafted a couple of years ago, having a pretty decent year in the minors as well, a 2.82 ERA over 92 innings. So I feel like the Cubs would love to have a pitcher like that. And also I have outfielder Franklin. Where is Franklin here? Oh, there he is. Jesse Franklin, number 8 prospect in AA right now. Having a bit of a down year in the minor leagues, a 236 average, 333 on base, 400 slugging, 733 OPS overall. Not a great year for him in the minors, so maybe a change of scenery with Chicago can be good for him, and maybe the Cubs can take advantage of it. Overall, I like this trade for both sides. I think the Braves are getting a bat that I think they need, and the Cubs getting a pretty nice package, and you're getting a 24-year-old starting pitcher who's already, well, granted, he did get blown up in his one start this year. Hey, this is a guy that he's got talent. He's got potential. I think the Cubs would love someone like that. Let's get this deal done. In my next trade, I have the Yankees landing a big arm in Frankie Montas. The Yankees, they missed out on Luis Castillo. I really thought they were going to get him, but in the end, he ended up going to the Seattle Mariners. They offered too good of a package, and there was no way the Yankees were going to top that. But the Yankees, you could still go get Frankie Montas. I think they need to go do it. If you go look at their rotation, I mean, their rotation has been one of the best in baseball this year. There's really nothing wrong with the rotation. I'm thinking of playoff baseball here. I would have rather have had Luis Castillo, but Frankie Montas, he's been pretty solid this year. If you take a look, obviously Garrett Cole, he's going to be going game 1 for you in the playoffs. And then Nestor Cortez had a really good year too. I definitely think he should factor into, games 1, 2, 3, somewhere in there. But with, these other guys, Montgomery, Herman, Tyone, they're having good seasons, but I'm thinking of playoff baseball here. I want to go after a stud, and I want Frankie Montas having himself a really good year, having some shoulder issues at one point, but he seems like he's gotten over that hump. 19 starts, 3.18 ERA, 3.36 FIP, right over 9 strikeouts per 9. He's keeping the walks down, keeping the home runs down. I think Montas would be a really solid addition for this Yankee rotation down the stretch. And also, don't forget, Luis Severino. He was having some issues with the lat. How long is he going to be out? Not quite sure. But for the Yankees, it's going to cost you a little something to get Montas. I have them parting with one of their top prospects, Oswald Peraza. Feels like this guy is always in trade proposals. I think this is the time to get it done. With Luis Castillo, reports were they wanted Anthony Volpe. So if they don't want to get rid of Volpe, then hey, Peraza can go in this deal. He fits more in terms of value. And then also we have Yoendrys Gomez and Randy Vasquez. So with these prospects, Peraza is number 2, Gomez is number 8, and then Vasquez is number 15. Sounds like a fair deal. If you ask me, the A's are adding some pretty good talent here, a couple of pitchers, and with the Yankees, you're adding a stud in Montas, and you're going to also have him for next year too. I like this trade for both sides. Up next, I have Wilson Contreras and David Robertson going to the New York Mets. I think this package of Robertson and Contreras would be huge for this Mets team looking to win it all this year. But they're going to have to part with 4 prospects here. We got Budo, Diaz, Plummer, and Ziegler. If you take a look, Plummer is leading the way in terms of ranking. He is number 8 overall. Not having a great year this year. He is a bit of an older prospect, age 26, but he is athletic, is considered a bit of a long-term project. Maybe the Cubs change of scenery. We can work something out with him. If we go take a look, though, the main parts of this package are pitching. I have Diaz here. He is number 10. He's an 18-year-old pitcher. I mean, hey, this is a long-term kind of a guy. Not having a great year in single A this year, but hey, there's potential with him. We got Calvin Ziegler. He is having himself a pretty decent year in A-ball this year. 3.57 ERA through 10 starts. And then the last guy that I have is Budo. And Budo right now is number 12. And Jose Budo, if we take a look in Double-A, 3.87 ERA through 19 games, 17 starts. I think for the Cubs, you're getting some pretty decent pictures here. You're getting an athletic guy in Plummer. Sure, hasn't really worked out so far with the Mets, but hey, maybe a change of scenery. There is potential with him. Overall, I think this package, the Cubs, you're getting 3 pictures here. Hey, you're trying to rebuild if you're the Chicago Cubs. And for the Mets, this is where you can really improve your team. When you take a look at the New York Mets, as of right now, James McCann is on the IL with a strained oblique. They're not really getting any offensive production from that spot. Wilson Contreras, sure, he's going to have to come over to the Mets. He's going to have to learn how to handle all these different pitchers, these pitchers that he hasn't worked with before. So that will be a bit of a task, but Wilson Contreras and his bat have been fantastic this year. 14 homers, hitting 255, a 369 on base, 459 slugging, 135 WRC plus. Has been slumping a little bit lately. If we go take a look at the splits, he got off to a really good start this year. In the month of May, he was hitting 289. Month of June was hitting 300, but this month only hitting 157 so far. So, hey, I'm thinking this guy, he just wants to get traded. He wants to go to a new team. But for the Mets, I do feel like they could use a bit of a boost in that bullpen. David Robertson, phenomenal year with the Chicago Cubs this year. 40 innings, 36 games, 2.23 ERA. FIP is higher at 3.52. But I think Robertson, this is a guy, he's been in a setup role before. You got Edwin Diaz as the closer. I think Robertson would be a really good setup man for the New York Mets. Overall, I think this package works out for the Cubs in the long run, but for the Mets, it helps them this year. Let's get Contreras and David Robertson in Queens. Up next, I have Pablo Lopez going to the Baltimore Orioles. Who would have thought the Orioles would be in this spot right now? No one did. 51-51, 3 games back in the wild card, a half game ahead of my Red Sox. The Orioles with Pablo Lopez, man, oh man, I think this would be a game changer for them. This could be their ace, and he's under control for the next couple of years. I think this would be a great addition for the Orioles, and they have the prospects to get it done. In this package, going back to the Marlins, I have DL Hall, Norby, I have as well as major league ready guys in Santander and Tate. If we go take a look at the couple of prospects here with the Orioles, Hall would be the main piece. He hasn't really fully gotten himself there. People were thinking he'd probably be in the majors by this point, but this year, nothing great so far down in the minors. 2-6, a 4.21 ERA, 18 starts. But DL Hall, definitely a lot of potential with him. Big fastball, good curveball, has a slider, and a good changeup as well. And the Marlins, they do a great job at developing pitching. I think it would be if you get someone like Pablo Lopez, I think it would be okay to give up on DL Hall. Let's see if the Marlins can do something with him. And also in this trade, I have Norby, second baseman, Connor Norby, just drafted last year. Good hit tool. The Marlins, they're looking to add some offense into that system. I think they would love to have someone like Connor Norby in this system. But also, we got a couple of major league ready players as well. The Marlins have been looking for a bat. Santander, I think, would be a nice bat for this lineup. He's under control for a couple of more years. And this year, hitting 251, 335 on base, 445 slugging, 18 homers, 120 WRC plus. He's not costing a whole lot. I think with Santander, this could be a nice bat for the Marlins. And then we also have Tate as well. The Orioles, they have had quite the bullpen this year, a great bullpen. And you know what? I think to part with someone like Dylan Tate, that might be a bit tough, but they got a lot of guys in this bullpen. I think they could absorb this, especially if they want to take on an ace pitcher like a Pablo Lopez. He's having a good year in the bullpen, and the Marlins could definitely use an arm for that bullpen. 2.22 ERA, 2.87 FIP. Dylan Tate, I think, would be a nice addition for the Marlins. Overall, Pablo Lopez on the Orioles, I had this idea from one of the subscribers on the channel in a live stream. I never thought of Pablo Lopez on the Orioles. I'm like, wow, that is a great idea. My original idea for Pablo Lopez would be for the Texas Rangers. I would also love to see the Rangers get in on this. They're out of it, but they're looking towards next season. Let's see if maybe they can get a jump on the market. Pablo Lopez on the Rangers, I think, would be a really nice addition for that rotation. Could you imagine a rotation where you got Kumar Rock or Jack Leiter eventually going to come up, and you got Pablo Lopez there as well? To me, that's a really nice looking rotation if you think about it. And then for the Marlins here, you'd have to give up your top prospect in Young, pretty good pitching prospect in Cole Winn, having a down year in the minors. But hey, again, the Marlins, they do well with developing pitching. And then outfield prospect Savalas. So bit of an overpay here, but I would love for the Rangers to get on this as well. But I love the idea of the Baltimore Orioles getting Pablo Lopez. As a Red Sox fan, I hate it, but this could be their ace and again, you have him for the next couple of years. Hey, Pablo Lopez, get him on the Orioles, and who knows, maybe they could sneak into a playoff spot. That'd be absolutely crazy. But hey, I like this trade for both sides. Up next, I have Josh Bell going to the Houston Astros. Josh Bell has been so good this year. Take a look at the numbers that he's putting up. Hitting .305, a .389 on base, .499 slugging, 14 homers, 145 with the WRC+. Really solid offensive year for Josh Bell. Now, for the Astros at first base, you have Yuli Gurriel, who had a great year last year, but he has been slumping this year. Only hitting .240, a .292 on base, .389 slugging, a 95 WRC+. He has just not really been getting it done. Now, I believe he has been hitting a little bit better as of late. In the month of July, he's hitting .282. So if the Astros feel like they're okay with Yuli Gurriel, then I could see them, turning elsewhere. But there have been rumors about Josh Bell going to the Astros, or the Astros at least showing some interest. But in this deal, I have the Astros giving up Baez, Perez, and Santos. It's not going to cost a whole lot to get someone like Josh Bell, $5.7 million of value. With Josh Bell, he's a first baseman. First basemen tend not to have as much value as other positions, and he is going to be a free agent soon, so he is just a rental. So a package like this, where you're having to give up Joe Perez, Santos, that's your 8 and 9, and I'm also throwing in Luis Baez at number 27 as well. So it really wouldn't cost you all that much to be the Houston Astros. Now, if the Astros did not want to go for someone like Josh Bell, my Red Sox have been playing absolutely terrible lately. If they wanted to go after Josh Bell, just like they did with Schwarber last year, I don't see why they couldn't. Cordero and Dahlback, they have just been all over the place at first base this year. Someone like Josh Bell can bring some stability to this lineup. The Red Sox are not out of it by any means. They're 3.5 out as of right now. So you could definitely go after someone like Josh Bell. And, the thing with Bell, there's not too much of a market for him. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. I would like him to go to the Astros. He's from Texas originally. I think that would be a nice fit. And if not the Astros, I would not mind seeing Josh Bell on my Red Sox. In the next deal, I have Noah Syndergaard going to the Philadelphia Phillies. Oh my goodness, seeing Noah Syndergaard going up against the New York Mets would be absolutely amazing, especially in a playoff race. Oh, please give this to me. I need it. But for the Phillies, I feel like someone like Syndergaard could be a nice boost to their rotation. You got Nola and Wheeler, but I feel like maybe one more guy here, if they get into the playoffs, a playoff-proven guy like Syndergaard, I think would be a really nice addition for this rotation. Oh, please, can we just have the Mets and the Phillies in the playoffs and Syndergaard going up against the Mets at Citi Field? Oh, please, I just need it. But Syndergaard, he'd be a nice addition here. Coming back from Tommy John with the Angels this year, they stink, so you might as well just get rid of Syndergaard. 15 starts, 80 innings overall, 3.83 ERA, 3.96 FIP. To me, he'd be just a nice number 3 or 4 in this rotation for the Phillies. And for the Phillies, you don't really have a ton of prospects to part with, so I feel like this price range would fit nicely with what they can offer. So in this trade, I have Eric Miller and Jordan Byers, where right now they are the number 10 and the 12 in their system. So overall for the Phillies, you're getting a nice rental for the rest of the season, not having to give up too much. And the Angels, hey, they get a couple of pieces, but the Angels stink. You might as well just trade Syndergaard now while you can. Up next, I have Shohei Ohtani going to the San Diego Padres. Let's just get this done. Reports are saying it's unlikely that the Angels will trade Ohtani, but in my opinion, the Angels stink. You might as well just get rid of this guy and bring in some pieces for the future now. There's no point keeping Ohtani unless you're just trying to sell tickets, which I understand that, but you're not doing anything for the future of your team. The Angels are just never doing anything. You got Ohtani and Trout, but you're not making the playoffs. They were looking good at one point this year. You got to get rid of this guy. There's no point hanging on to this guy. He's going to be a free agent in a couple of years. Trade him now and get some pieces back for the future of your team. You want to build a winner? Well, there's no point keeping Ohtani. You're not winning with him. So in this trade, I have the Angels getting a future shortstop in C.J. Abrams. He is not considered a prospect anymore. He spent enough time in the majors this year. But with Abrams, you got Robert Hassel, who is the number 1 prospect. You got Jackson Merrill and Savala. Merrill, as of right now, is the number 4, and Savala is their number 10. For the Padres, I feel like they have needed a bat in this lineup. They need something else. You're going to get Fernando Tatis Jr. back eventually, but to me, when he does come back, imagine him and Ohtani in this lineup. Are you kidding me? Sure, I don't mind Luke Voit. I think he's okay. But Luke Voit, sure, 13 homers, 110 WRC plus, not terrible by any means. But, come on. If you're able to add Shohei Ohtani here who is having another good season this year. You know, slugging is a little down from last year, but whatever. 22 home runs, hitting 251, 346 on base, a 130 WRC plus. But you're also getting him for the mound as well. Taking a look at his numbers. I mean, just look at these numbers on the mound. 17 starts, a 2.81 ERA, a 2.37 FIP, 13 strikeouts per 9, 2 walks per 9. Are you kidding me? If you could add this kind of a picture to your rotation with Yu Darvish, that would be pretty cool in itself. 2 guys from Japan. And then Joe Musgrove's been having a good year. Manaea's been a little kind of up and down lately. But to me, hey, you're thinking of the playoffs here. And if you're able to add Ohtani to this rotation and to the lineup for the playoffs, I mean, the Padres are looking rather dangerous if you ask me. Now, the question is, are the Angels going to deal Ohtani? I don't know. I wouldn't count it out completely, but to me, if I'm the Angels, you got to do it. If you're not going to be able to, if you're not going to want to re-sign this guy long term, and you're not going to be able to put a winner on the field, he said himself he wants to win. So to me, I don't know if he really thinks the Angels are going to put together a winning team. I don't know, man, but I would part with Ohtani right now if it were me. If I could get a package like this, absolutely all day, every day. Let's get Shohei Ohtani to the San Diego Padres. Last but not least, I have Juan Soto going to the St. Louis Cardinals. Who would have thought we would have gotten to this point of Juan Soto getting traded? But I do think it is going to happen. The Nationals, they tried to sign him long term. They rejected it. So you might as well just trade him now while his value is extremely high. But a team like the St. Louis Cardinals, I think, have the perfect balance, the perfect opportunity to get this done. The Cardinals have the prospects. If we take a look here, they also have Dylan Carlson, major league ready outfield. He would be the centerpiece of the deal going back to the Washington Nationals. And then we got Jordan Walker, their top prospect. I have Mason Wynn, shortstop prospect, number 4 as of right now. And then one more piece just to fill in that last little bit of value. We have Love, who as of right now, he is there. Where the heck is Austin Love, number 16 prospect? To me, I think if you have this opportunity, if you're the St. Louis Cardinals, you got the perfect blend of players to be able to send back. You have shown the willingness to be able to sign or take on money in the past with Giancarlo Stanton. He ended up turning down the deal with his no trade clause, but they were willing to take on all of that money. They've also made trades in the past, plenty of trades in the past. Most recently, Nolan Arenado, Paul Goldschmidt. So they, to me, are the perfect team to go after Juan Soto. If you're able, sure, I like Dylan Carlson, but he's no Juan Soto. If I'm able to put Juan Soto in this line with Goldschmidt, Arenado, I mean, my goodness, what a middle of the order that is. That is absolutely mind-boggling if you ask me. Got off to a bit of a slow start. Juan Soto's always been a slow starter, but look at the year that he is having. 20 homers, on base is still at a very good 404. 479 slugging, that has been rising. Again, he got off to the slow start. But Juan Soto, as John Bitzer of Baseball Trade Value says, he is a unicorn. This is a once in a generation kind of a player. This is the modern day Ted Williams. I mean, if you have a chance to add Juan Soto, you absolutely need to do it. I do think the Cardinals need to add pitching. I think they need to add some pitching. I mean, we mentioned that earlier with Jose Quintana. I think that is something they do need to do. But if you have this chance to go get someone like this and then sign him to an extension long term, you got to do this all day, every day. Absolutely get this done. But everyone, that is my list. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. What do you think of these trades? Tell me some other trades that you would want to see as well. But that's all I have for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.